Welcome to another installment of the PineScript 101 series. Today, we'll take a closer look at matrices. If you haven't watched the previous segment about arrays, I invite you to do so, as it will help with understanding matrices. We can think of a matrix as a collection of values of the same type in a two-dimensional array, and each value is referenced by its row index, starting from 0, and column index, starting from 0. In this video, we'll learn how to use the matrix in PineScript. Let's now move over to TradingView and dive in. To illustrate how to use a matrix, we'll leverage it to store the open, high, low, and close values for a set number of bars back. Let's start off with a blank script and add an input to set how many bars back we want to store the data for. So look back as an integer input with a default value of 5 and a minimum value of 1. Then we declare an empty matrix like so. OHLC for open, high, low, close equal to matrix.new with its type, so float in our case, and parentheses to call the new function. We then initialize its values, adding the rows iteratively for the set lookback. First, we make sure that we're doing so for data that has been confirmed. So if barstate dot is confirmed, then we loop from I equals 0 to loopback -1, since we're starting from 0. And for each iteration, we add a row to the matrix. So OHLC dot add row. We need to pass an array ID equal array dot from the values that are given. So that will be open, I, low, I, and finally, close, I. And that should be it. And let's use PineLogs so that we can inspect its content. So for each row, we'll log as an info the row at the index and its value as OHLC.row at I. Let's say, add to chart, enable the PineLogs, and see the content. We have indeed 5 rows as per our set lookback from index 0 to 4, and each row holds the open, the high, the low, and the close value. And the most recent one is at row 0, so 554.13, 554.13, 554.1, and 554.12. So let's check on the chart for the last bar. We have indeed 554.13, 554.13, 554.1, and 554.12. Looks like it works. Great. At this time, we are recreating the matrix from scratch on each bar. Instead, we could use persistence in order to add the newest values and remove the oldest ones. First, we add the var keyword to make our matrix persistent. So var OHLC still equal to the empty matrix. And if our number of rows is equal to the loopback, so if OHLC dot rows equal loopback, in that case, I add the newest values, so OHLC dot add row at index 0, that's where our newest values are. So, and an array from the values, so open, I, low, and close. And then we make sure that we remove the oldest values. So OHLC dot remove row at the last index, so that will be OHLC dot rows -1, since we're starting at index 0. Then else, we have not yet initialized with sufficient values, so we're still doing the looping in that case of adding all the rows for the first iteration. Then we need to make sure that we log for all the cases. So we're going to copy that loop and only log the info. Right, let's clean up a little bit and remove that logging here. Let's save. That should be it. And check. And as you can see, we still have the correct values and they are still the same. Awesome, we did it. Now we can use our matrix to perform some operations. For instance, we could iterate through the matrix to count the number of green bars within the loopback period. So first, let's have a count variable equal to 0. Then for each row in our matrix or HLC, if the clause, so that would be row dot get value at 3, which is our last value on each row, is superior or equal to our open. So row dot get the value at index 0, that is our open. In that case, we increment the count by 1. And then let's log that info to the pine logs so that we can inspect it. Let's save and check. So here we've got 4 green bars. And indeed, here 554.13 is less than 554.12. So there it doesn't count. But then we have, for the subsequent rows, we do have values that are higher. And so those are green bars. Awesome, it works. Finally, another advantage of matrices is having access to a number of built-in methods to manipulate them. There are many, and I invite you to discover them in the PineScript reference manual as you get more comfortable with matrices. Just search for matrix, and you will have the list of all the functions available on matrix. I hope you enjoyed learning how to use the matrix in PineScript on a simple use case. Remember, trading is a journey, and mastering PineScript is just one step along the way. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, please feel free to leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.